Welcome to Push with Love. Today we have Karey Casto-Chrin, right?
Good job. Yes, that's how you pronounce it.
Excellent, excellent. I was hoping I'd get that right. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. So, last time we talked, you were telling me about your skincare line, which was Apothecary, but you just told me that it changed to Hoppy Skin Care. Is that correct?
So, Apothecary is still the umbrella. So, that's basically the founder's name, Apothecary, with all of the things that I do underneath it. And Hoppy Skincare is now my new website where you can purchase my products. Very simple, not a ton to choose from because it is my secret sauce that I finally brought to life in 2024.
Hmm, very cool. Can we go into about the science behind your skincare product? Because I think you told me it has something to do with hops.
Yeah, so that's where the Apothecary comes in. I'm Carrie, and hops is my secret ingredient, no longer so secret. So yeah, in 2017, I was trying to find a um, ingredient to create a lip balm to sell during the holidays at a brewery that I worked at. So I asked the owner if I could do this to make some extra money for a custody battle I was going through, and he said absolutely, but it better taste like the flagship beer. So I spent all like 3 days trying to find the right ingredient, and this study out of Canada fell in my lap. And it was very untouched. It was just kind of a new thing that they were discovering, and it was about the terpenoids that were in the hop that were very similar to cannabinoids that make up CBD. So I was like, this is finally my dream come true because I've been making cosmetics for years, but you need to have a proprietary ingredient to actually get your foot into the cosmetic industry, the world of it, because it's a very saturated world. So I was like, this is huge. And it was right before the cannabis boom in Michigan, before it became legal. So everyone was wanting to try CBD. So yeah, I closed the book on the lip balm. It finally is surfaced now as Lips, but I never made it for the brewery. I went into deep study. And in 2024, I finally brought the products to life in front of celebrity entrepreneurs on a TV show called Pitch Your Way to the Top.
Very cool. So, is it like, does it have any flavor to it? Like, does it
So
have like a hoppy flavor to it?
the Lips does. And I will tell you, hops, I have used it raw and it's like Novocaine. Your mouth will be numb for like 2 days if you brush your teeth with it. So yeah, it's got a little bit of a flavor just of the hop. And then I do use a peppermint oil to give it just a little bit more of a, invigorating feeling. But it definitely mellows the mood and elevates the overall mood. So yeah, it's a nice product. It's definitely not my prized product. This is my blue ice. I've sold over 500 of these. Every customer who's purchased it has returned to buy more. It is a pain topical. So it's a gel. I also have incorporated indigo, which is my son's name, so it only makes sense and it's amazing for pain. A lot of people just think of indigo as the color, but it's actually a plant, and that's where they get the color indigo from. Um, so any plant that really bleeds blue is going to have an ingredient called azulene, which is awesome for so many things in the skin and also pain. As I was developing this, though, I knew there had to be more to a pain topical. So I researched all of the topicals like Tiger Balm and all of those different ones on the market, finding that it was the heat helping to alleviate the pain because I wanted to put the hops into a formulation that didn't just have the hops, it had other things that could help aches, pains, arthritis, different things like that. So I was like, I've got to do better than just finding a hot pepper, right? So I Googled the hottest pepper on earth, and a pepper did not come up. The hottest thing on earth is actually a cactus called euphorbia from Morocco. So I got my hands on some euphorbia, and that is also in the formulation. So it's hops, euphorbia, arnica, which people do know about, which is great for bruising and things, and then the indigo extract. So that's my secret sauce. It's really good for pre and post workout as well as like a muscle joint gel to invigorate those things. So yeah, it's awesome stuff.
That does sound pretty cool. Sounds like it would be pretty helpful with that, like muscle relaxing, and uh, maybe with arthritis as well for the older generations. Uh,
So what's really interesting, Mike, is I'll tell you the day that I finally got back from Florida and decided to launch this on my in my storefront. I have a brick and mortar for the time being in a mall in Jackson, Michigan. I was up in front of the store putting the blue ice on the shelves finally after all these years. And a gentleman was like looking through my windows, and I'm like, he's looking for something clearly. So I walked out and I was like, are you looking for something? He said, clip on earrings. And I was like, I actually randomly have clip on earrings because Jackson, Michigan is a very Catholic community, and the Catholics don't tend to get their ears pierced. Nowadays, they do more often, but not the old school ones. So he came in to look at the clip on earrings, and I noticed he had a prosthetic. I wasn't going to point it out because that's rude. You've got to be really careful, you know, pointing out the elephant in the room. And he actually, after walking around the store, he's like, this thing is killing me. Do you mind if I sit down for a second? And I was like, oh, it's my opportunity. I was like, so do you use any pain topicals on that? And he's like, I've tried everything under the sun. Nothing even touches this. He's like, it's 2 years old. So I was like, do you want to try this blue ice? And he's like, he took his prosthetic off, and he's like, right now, he said, if this stuff works, I'm your number one customer. So he put it on in the store and gave it about 10 minutes because that's about how long it takes for a pain topical to actually start becoming effective. And he stood up and he said, I need 3 jars. He bought 3 bottles that day, and then he came back 2 weeks later and bought 50 minis from me for a class reunion in Jackson because he is like my biggest testimony for this stuff. So it doesn't come in this jar, but for people who want it in bulk, they can purchase it in larger sizes. So yeah, pretty
Very
cool.
cool.
So it helps with serious pain.
Yeah, yeah, that is really cool. And it's funny how the universe kind of brings you into that moment, gives you that, especially when you need it. I know that he probably appreciates that a lot, having that pain relief. The interesting thing was the story behind the uh, the starting of this skincare product with um, your custody case. You want to go into that, the details of that?
So I always call this divine intervention because even at the worst times in your life, something falls in your lap that can help you go into tunnel vision and be able to get through to the next day. And actually, the year that I discovered the hops, um, my kids were snatched by their dad while with my mom after I walked into work at the brewery. They followed her to church and they got her while she was alone, or got them while she was alone with them at the church. So yeah, I fought with that, but through that fight, I founded the collections that surround that are like the base of the apothecary, which is my Liberty skincare collection. So Lady Liberty, Little Liberty, and Lady Justice, which all the names came from um, going back and forth from Indiana, a state we didn't live in, to Michigan to fight custody and let them know we don't live in Indiana, you can't do this. But I was so shocked at the things I saw happening in family court. It was either I lay in bed with a bottle of booze under my pillow and cry about it all day, or I mock what I saw, create a business about what I saw, and just move on to the next day and just continue rolling with this. So actually, the Liberty collection and then the Bulletproof Minerals came secondly. So I've got the mugshot ready, photo finished, be ready to get framed, and the Blast of Bronze, which were all created in 2017 with this still staying secret. So I let the whole hops thing go dormant, but I created 250 products around it, all with my story and my children's story pretty much on the jar, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was a rough thing. The whole time I did research and development as well on the hops products, but they were so untouched that you couldn't just go somewhere and get the science. I had to do all the research on my own. So yeah, that kept me busy through that year. And then I got the kids back in 2018 And so they know they know this is their company. Little Liberty, I actually created for my daughter, Viola, for a Smart Start skincare. Because actually, right now, it's all over the internet that girls are using products they should not be using. Yes, they need to take care of their skin, but they shouldn't be using the same products as their mom or their grandma because those ingredients don't belong on teenage young skin. So yeah, I created her that product so she knows she's Little Lib. Um, I actually, in the brand, I have so many business plans for my son Kai. He's a big fisherman. I have created Kai's tackle. So in the future, I do plan on having a worm farm, which is really crazy, right? People laugh at that because I have a beauty brand that wants a worm farm and a tackle. So tackle and worms, basically. So bait for fish. So yeah, and then in 2019, fast forward, they were snatched again by their dad. That time was 5 minutes after I walked into the brewery, same place, while with my mom. This time was from the library courtyard because he actually took them from school so that I couldn't use our very expensive custody order out of the state we didn't live in. So my kids weren't being educated, and my youngest at that time couldn't read. I don't know if he can now, but she was there helping to assist him in reading just before they went to my family reunion, and he rolled up on her at the library courtyard with witnesses, and yeah, I got him again. So now we're still going through it. But following that, I got a phone call from Broadway. And this is what I'm saying, the divine intervention in life, right? And they saw me on Instagram, and I used to hashtag flying solo because I'm solo all the time with a solo cup in my hand a lot of times. So flying solo was what I hashtagged, and the place was actually called Flying Solo. So I get this random phone call that I decided to answer, and they wanted to know the story behind my brand. So I gave them the story, and they said they wanted me to submit my products to a global board. So that was 2022. I did it and I got accepted into Manhattan. So I launched the Liberty Collection and the Bulletproof Minerals right on Broadway in March of 2023. So that's when everything really started rolling. But and then in 2024, I got cast on the two TV shows. And so I actually filmed two TV shows that year. And that's when this finally came to life, the Hoppy Skin Care.
Wow. So it sounds like it's been quite an adventure, kind of starting this product and kind of going back and forth with the custody. And it's kind of sad that we get into these situations with, pulling kids into court and kind of uprooting them and then neglecting their education on top of that, which is really sad because that's really what is important for a child is education. Is there kind of a lesson that you've learned throughout of all of this, kind of reflecting on that experience?
So I have a couple sayings that I've came up with. One of them is skincare is like an attorney. You got to buy it, try it, and hope to God that it works, or it's a very expensive mistake. Um, I have learned that the attorney wins the case. It's not the parent. I've watched it with my own two eyes, or else I would know where my kids are right now. Um, you can only get the justice you can afford, and that's a fact. And so now actually the situation has snowballed so much because of neglect of the family courts in two states, one that we should have never heard our case. Now finally Michigan won the case, but it was so jacked up by the time they got it, and then COVID happened, um, that basically your only hope is appeals court. And good luck getting an attorney that is affordable in appeals court. So I'm in search of one right now to appeal a lot of things that I had to watch go down because it's not about me and it's not about him. It's about them. And all children deserve to know both parents.
Yeah,
Women have been doing this forever to men, but it's rare that you hear of a situation like mine where a man did this. But it's the same scenario. He doesn't like me, so he wants to sink me. And in the process of that, he is destroying my children.
yeah. That's the saddest part, really, is the bitterness of an ex is harming the child's health, mental health, and future, really. It's causing a lot of trauma in their life that they're going to have to process later on. Uh, Is there for somebody that doesn't have, um, I guess you could say, doesn't have funds to pay for a lawyer? It kind of seems like there's no chance for children in custody battle when they don't have representation. Do you feel like that's something that is true?
Absolutely. So I made the error where I decided, because I thought there's no way. I'd never been through this though. You know, those are my only three kids. He's got 12. So he knows this, and he's one of those people who spends and devotes all of his time to finding out how to beat the systems, and he's smart about that. I didn't grow up in a family that had an attorney in their pocket. He did. Um, so I made the error of going to court without an attorney and to represent myself, thinking there was no way. Biggest mistake I ever made. Um, I have found now that there are groups out there that you can join that are on Facebook and such, where there are advocates who can help you in some sense. But really, yeah, like I said, you can only get the justice you can afford. And if you're bringing yourself in there against some bulldog, good luck.
Mm. Yeah,
I call them the fraternities for a reason.
yeah, yeah, it seems about right. Seems
Mhm.
accurate. If there is something that you could kind of change about the experience when you first started, what would you do differently?
Oh man. So for one, I would have never represented myself. Hold on. I actually had the case where it needed to be. And then he convinced me that he changed and all these things. So I went back with him. And that's when the case snowballed out of control. And then we had another child. So that's where the three come in. People do wonder why, if he was so terrible, why do you have three kids with him? Well, people like this individual, they know how to play their cards. And I had kids with him. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be a single mom. I wanted to have my kids with someone who I could enjoy our lives with, you know? So um, I hate to say it, but I wish I would have never went back, but then I wouldn't have my littlest, you know? So it's like one of those things. Um, there's a couple attorneys that oh my goodness, I really wish that I never would have ever retained because I do believe that they took money to sink portions of my case. I think one got sent on a vacation by his parents because that's how they roll. I mean, I watched everything. This isn't just, you know, that Disney couldn't dream up the things I saw if he tried. So there are just things that I saw that so yeah, a couple of the attorneys. I never would have represented myself. But yeah, that's you can't turn back time. So you know, I try not to dwell on the what ifs.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's sad too because it's one of those things that really the kids are the ones suffering in all of it, uh, going through the experience. So it sounds like what you did was you took a really hard experience and you kind of alchemized it into something positive to put back out into the world. In this lifetime that we have, I think the only thing that matters is what we leave for the rest of the world in our experience. Do you have any kind of advice that you could share with people that might be going through something that's similar?
You got to get up every day, wash away yesterday, put on your skincare, dress to kill, and keep on moving on like Johnny Walker because you cannot let this destroy you because that's what they want. In the long run, their number one goal is to use your weakness and as a weapon and to destroy you, even though they don't really know your weaknesses because people like that, they never really knew you, but they tend to um, use whatever tools they can to hurt you. So you just kind of have to put them in the back of your mind and keep on going because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just that sometimes the tunnel is a really long ways till you see the end of the light. I mean, I'm going on 12 years of fighting this custody battle, hundreds of thousands of dollars later. I have nothing. I mean, I do. I have this, you know what I mean? And I have everything, but I don't have my children. I don't even know where they are. You know, financially, it's just destroyed me because I don't come from money. I work for everything I have. And so, yeah, it's been a tough haul, but you just got to keep on going because at the end, you never know what the light is, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you for everything that you shared today.
Yeah,
I feel like it is one of those things that it seems hopeless in the moment while you're going through it, but you're right. You do have to just kind of get up, keep having momentum, and keep going forward because eventually things will change. Well, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. And
definitely.
if you have any closing remarks, please feel free to share.
So if you are interested in my pain topicals, I also have an anti-aging serum called Totally Dope Wrinkle Sedator, which is hops, not hemp. I just make fun of the cannabis industry. And I just formulated the best bud. I actually have it curing right now. If you go on hoppyskincare.com and you use coupon code MICA, Hoppy MICA, you'll get complimentary shipping and a free gift.
But well, thank you for that.
Definitely.
Well, this has been Push with Love with Karey and Hoppy Skincare. Till next time, remember to like and subscribe. Take care.
Okay. Bye. See ya.